Welcome back to another episode of Theology where, yes, I've been absent for quite a while, a couple of reasons when we get a new puppy. But the last reason why I've missed at least these last 2 weeks is I actually sustained a concussion. And so it's just unable to do much of anything during that time. But very glad to report, very thankful to say that I'm mostly back to normal, at least as normal as I ever was. But with that, we're going to jump in to the confession. And since I'm restarting today, I thought I would try something different. So today I have Twinings Dark Caramel. I've never had this. It smells pretty good. But as we're talking about free will today, I can say I freely chose this because I couldn't find my other tea. So let's just see how. I mean, it does smell good. Let's see. It's not bad. Anyway, we are on chapter 9 of free will. So I'll read this and, as usual, briefly comment. So section 1, God has endued the will of man with that natural liberty that is neither forced nor by any absolute necessity of nature determined to good or evil. So again, just to recap a little bit here, what we've seen from the confession, really from chapter 2 through chapter 8, is the sovereignty of God. The fact that God is completely and absolutely sovereign over all events and how he is orchestrating all things for his glory through Jesus Christ. And that does seem to, at least in my mind, naturally turn to the question which the confession is addressing here of what about us? Do we have free will? Are we just robots in a machine? What is how are we interacting and reacting and all of these things? And the confession just points out that we do have a natural liberty. We're not coerced. We are responsible for our own actions. And they cite several verses here that I think are important to read. James 1 verse 14 says, "But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed." And James has a long, or has an argument here that it is not God who tempts, but rather it is our own sinful nature that tempts and draws us away. And then Moses in Deuteronomy 30 verse 19 says, "I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both you and your seed may live." And again, a choice set before them. And so really what we're dealing with here is somewhat of a paradox. Two things that exist that are both true. And really the problem comes in when we overemphasize one side or another. We overemphasize God's sovereignty, remove all of our free choice and necessity to do things, or we exalt man's freedom as if he can do things that God has not already foreordained to do. So there's a nice happy medium here, which the confession wants to remind us that, again, God is sovereign, as they've attempted to lay that case forward substantially. And also we do have a will of our own. We are responsible for our actions. Yes, our free will is not total in the sense that we can't do things against what God has foreordained, but nonetheless we make real choices, and we are responsible for those real choices. Whether we would choose life or whether we would choose death, all of us will stand before God and before Christ at the throne of judgment, and we will be held responsible for our choices. And so the confession, again, even here wants to exalt the Lord Jesus Christ, and certainly implicit in that Deuteronomy quote is the call to choose Christ, to choose life, to find life in him, the only mediator between God and man. Well, that's it. We'll continue with free will through the rest of this week. I might actually drink this tea again. It's just black. There's no sugar, no milk, but again, it does smell like caramel. Anyway, it's very good to be back with you all. Do please leave a comment on what you thought in regards to man's free will and God's sovereignty. Any questions we can address here, especially as we go through the confession. But anyway, like I said, great to be back. Every blessing today. It looks like a nice sunny day, at least for me. Hope it is for you.